As the probe into Sushant's suicide case widens, Times Now has accessed proof that explains why Uddhav Sarkar blocked the demand for a CBI inquiry into the Sushant Singh Rajput death case. Times Now has accessed messages sent by Sushant Singh Rajput's brother-in-law to Mumbai police. The messages were sent on two separate days, on February 19th and 25th February, warning the cops of a threat to Sushant's life from Rhea and a group of other individuals. And both the messages were acknowledged by the then Bandra range DCP Paramjeet Dahiya, but strangely the police did not act. And after facing flack, the Mumbai police has now sought for a written complaint. Times Now exposes three big lies as far as the Mumbai police is concerned. Now, the Mumbai police says that the family never complained about any sort of threat before June 14. That is when Sushant Singh Rajput was found dead. But the fact is, and we are going by the WhatsApp chats that we've managed to access, the WhatsApp chats with Times Now suggest that there were two complaints, like I said, on February 19th and February 25th. What is lie number 2 as far as the Mumbai police is concerned? Now, the Mumbai police says the complaint was never given in writing, but the fact is that the Supreme Court and the High Court judgments have made it amply clear that such messages, if sent to the police, can be considered as a complaint and action can be taken against them. Not just that, the Bihar police top probe officer, in fact, was quarantined in the maximum city. And remember, individuals who belong to essential services are exempted from such protocols. Then the question is, what is the Mumbai police trying to hide and who is the Mumbai police trying to shield? Those are the messages on your screen sent by Sushant Singh Rajput's brother-in-law. Let's go across to my colleagues who are joining us on the broadcast. We have with us Kajal, our Mumbai bureau chief, and we also have Vajiullah, Siddhant and Arunil on the broadcast. Let's first go across to Kajal. Kajal, the chats that we've managed to access suggest that the family did reach out to the police on two occasions, on February 19th and February 25th, and in those messages the brother-in-law of Sushant Singh Rajput has very clearly said that there is a threat to Sushant's life and that he was being given some kind of treatment. Rhea and her family, Rhea had moved in with her, and on the pretext of curing him of depression, they also kept him in some resort for months.
Yes, these are the conversations that have been accessed by our group editor Amika Kumar, and these conversations clearly show that the Mumbai police had been informed. Now there is a precedent that says that any form of complaint, be it via electronic means, be it via telephone call, all of those would be considered as valid complaints. But the Mumbai police seemed to suggest yesterday in a statement that they had released that they had asked for a written complaint, a formalized written complaint, to which the family had said that they wanted to be handled discreetly, and the Mumbai police then perhaps cited some law and told them that it would not be possible to handle it discreetly. But that still doesn't excuse the Mumbai police from the fact that they did, after at least Sushant Singh's death, they would have gone through their files and they would have known that such a complaint existed. Why then did they not focus solely and exclusively on Rhea and try to find out what exactly happened at that point of time? She has been questioned twice, that much is there. But beyond that, the focus of the investigation didn't seem to be on entirely what her and her family's role was.
Right, absolutely. Let's go across to Arunil now. Arunil, the Mumbai police has offered a defense. The Mumbai police says that the complaint was never given in written, but we do have the precedents set by courts in this country, the Supreme Court and the High Court, that allow the police, in fact, to take action when complaints are received through WhatsApp or through email as well.
Well, pressure clearly mounts on the Mumbai police and the Maharashtra government, Swati. This is because in February, the WhatsApp complaint was registered by the family, and as you mentioned, the courts have allowed such kind of complaints to be taken cognizance of. But fair enough, if at all the Mumbai police is saying that we wanted a written complaint that time, which is as per the courts, which is not right. But after the suicide of late actor Sushant Singh Rajput, at least that time alarm bells should have rung in the minds of these Mumbai police officers, and Rhea Chakraborty should have been under the radar. The family is also claiming that after they came to Mumbai as well, that time also an alert was raised with the Mumbai police with respect to Rhea Chakraborty, but the entire investigation of the Mumbai police was with production houses, was with big directors. It was completely on a different angle, and that is why the family was so agitated that they approached Bihar police. And when the Bihar police came to Mumbai to investigate the matter, now what the Mumbai police is doing is like basically create blockades in their investigation, get some of the other technicality. One of their senior officers being quarantined. I mean, in this entire tug of war between one police department, that is Mumbai police, and the Bihar police department, which basically wants to investigate the case and want truth to come out. It is the pursuit of justice that has been majorly hampered in this, and now all eyes will be on the Supreme Court verdict, like whether the investigation will be given to the CBI or no.
Absolutely. Arunil, stay on with us. Let me also go across to Siddhant. There are several other individuals whose roles also are being looked at very, very suspiciously, especially Siddharth Pithani, because remember, Siddharth Pithani said he did not know much about the personal life of Sushant Singh Rajput. On the other hand, on Rhea's Instagram account, you see, pictures that were clicked during the lockdown. All of them were, she actually tagged Siddharth Pithani on all of those photos. And this WhatsApp message also suggests that Sushant Singh's brother-in-law was trying to tell the police that Buddha, who is Siddharth Pithani, knew about their relationship, and then if contacted, he would give them the background.
Well, that's right. Question goes out for each and everyone who was around Sushant Singh Rajput before his death. And you are absolutely right, Swati. Siddharth was living with them. He knows each and every detail. But when media asked these questions to him, he used to tell us that Rhea and Sushant were in love, where they used to admire each other and everything was normal. But the fact remains that the messages that have been accessed by Times Now clearly shows that how the brother-in-law of Sushant Singh Rajput, when giving complaint to Mumbai Police's DCP, clearly mentioned that Siddharth Pithani knows each and everything. And not just that, Swati, Times Now have also spoken to a lot of staff members of Sushant Singh Rajput, where also they're confirming that was Rhea and Siddharth Pithani who was managing the ecosystem around Sushant Singh Rajput before his death. Now, if I'm saying ecosystem, then that includes each and everything, which includes handling finances, to employing new staff, to taking care of each and everything at home. So both Rhea and Siddharth Pithani were good friends, and they both were running the ecosystem around Sushant Singh Rajput. Now, the question goes out for Mumbai police that why in this particular direction their roles were not probed, why they in this particular direction they were not interrogated. Now, the sources in Mumbai police tell me that who said that we are not looking into these angles. We are definitely looking into these angles, and this is the reason that yesterday Mumbai commissioner comes out for the first time, addresses the media and said that we are looking into all probable angles, including the criminal conspiracy.
Right, but then the question is, why did they not look into the matter when the family had reached out to them in February? That is something that the Mumbai police has failed to answer. Let's also go across to our senior editor Bhavtosh, who's joining us on the broadcast. Bhavtosh, a top officer of Bihar police was quarantined. Now, isn't it true that individuals who belong to essential services are exempted from these protocols? Haven't the officials of the Enforcement Directorate been conducting raids across the country? Haven't the police been arresting criminals across the country?
Swati, you're right. In fact, I can give you at least 4 or 6 examples in which officers from Delhi had gone and carried out raids and searches, not only in different parts of the country, but also in Mumbai. So the argument that is being given by Mumbai administration, by BMC, that people need to be quarantined is something which is very hard to digest. Now, last week, the Delhi Police's special cell had dispatched 13 officers, including an inspector and 4 sub-inspector, to arrest a criminal in Surat. The interstate coordination worked well. They were provided with logistical support. The criminal was arrested and brought back. Enforcement Directorate, in fact, had carried out raids and searches in Mumbai and other parts of the country. And all these teams, in fact, have been led by officers who have been in fact sent from Mumbai. Remember, Income Tax Department also carried out raids at 8 premises of Ratan Kant, one of close associates of Vaibhav Gehlot, Chief Minister's son. Even in that, officers from Delhi were sent. The NIA, which is carrying out gold smuggling probe, also has officers from Delhi. It's not that officers from different parts of the country have not gone to other cities and carried out investigation. The only time this has happened where an officer has been sent to quarantine is in this case, and that's the reason why doubts and questions are being raised.
Absolutely. In this case also, let me go across to Vajiullah. In this case also, Vajiullah, only the top officer. Okay, before I go across to him, I believe we have former DGP of Uttar Pradesh, Vikram Singh, joining us in the broadcast. Let's go across to him. Sir, what is your response to the protocol that all of a sudden now the corporation, municipal corporation of Mumbai is following? Because earlier a team landed in Mumbai, they were carrying out the investigation already, interrogating people, and when the top officer lands, that's when all of a sudden the Mumbai police wants to follow the protocol, from which that officer is exempted, by the way.
Good morning. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that the business of quarantine begins the moment a person lands. If he's carrying the requisite papers of being okay and being COVID-19 free, then there is a discretion with the authorities that they need not be quarantined. Observation number 2, if the quarantine was imperative, everybody and every person landing in Mumbai on the same flight should have been quarantined under the same rules and provisions. The unusual haste with which this officer has been quarantined after his arrival in Mumbai and maybe after a certain delay is indicative of the fact that there is more to it than what meets the eye. I would certainly say that rule and application should be implemented and faithfully implemented, but it should be uniform for all, not necessary only to the police officers and the senior most visiting from Patna for a bona fide government job.
Right. I would also want your perspective on the defense that is now being given by the Mumbai police as far as the WhatsApp messages are concerned. Mumbai police says that there was no written complaint, but we have accessed the WhatsApp messages that were sent to the Bandra range DCP by Sushant's brother-in-law, where it is very clearly pointing out that Sushant's life is in threat, and the role of Rhea and her parents is also being highlighted in that particular WhatsApp message. And sir, if I'm not wrong, there have been precedents set by the Supreme Court and the High Court where this particular message should have been taken as a complaint.
Let me tell you, I was on your show yesterday evening, and this is a very shoddy way of putting up things. The law is very clear, 154 of the Criminal Procedure Code, and Lalita Kumari versus State of Uttar Pradesh, and given the findings and the observations given by the Honorable Supreme Court is the SHO shall, it is not a discretion that he shall register an FIR. Not to have done that in a serious case, and that too when the message came from a senior person, IPS officer from Haryana, the brother-in-law of the deceased, O.P. Singh. It was your job to have responded, given adequate protection, and registered, if not an FIR, then a general diary entry. You did nothing, and now you say that the written complaint had not come. I would advise them to go through the rule book once again and brush up their knowledge of rules, regulations, CRPC and procedures.
All right, Vikram Singh ji, thank you very much for joining us and sharing your perspective with us. Let me go across to Vajiullah now. Vajiullah, what next? Because clearly, this particular defense of the Mumbai police is not being accepted. The fact that no written complaint was given is what Mumbai police is trying to imply upon at this point in time. But in February itself, the family had made it very clear that something was not right with Sushant Singh Rajput, and that he was downhill. That's the word used by the brother-in-law. Ever since Rhea came into his life, she moved in with him, and then when she started making all those changes, taking calls on who needs to be hired, and the changes that were made in the house, something that Sushant was not comfortable with.
Well, one thing is very clear, that the signs of warning were given from February itself. We've seen messages in which it's clearly indicating that the condition of Sushant Singh was not right. He was going through a lot of things because of new people who have come into his life, and they were taking over everything. And we've heard the same reactions from the friends of Sushant Singh also. When we spoke to Smita, when we spoke to Samuel, they've all said the same thing, that they left Sushant Singh after Rhea entered their life, and they were already they were sent back. So this is what we're listening from them. But what is next? We are now coming to know that there is a petition today in the Mumbai High Court which is looking into this entire case, and they want the case to be transferred to an SIT or CBI, which will look into this matter completely, thoroughly, without any bias. Because now we see how both the police are fighting for their turf over here. We've seen how Mumbai police has quarantined an SP here in Bihar who has come here to look into this particular case.
And in fact,
the
the
drama
IGP
that is
also,
unfolding.
IGP also of Bihar has written a letter now requesting the authorities to, let the officer complete his duty for which he has been sent to Mumbai, which is to investigate the matter, and that the quarantine process needs to end right now. We'll keep tracking all the developments. For the moment, we're taking a very short break. All our reporters will continue to be with us.